Welcome to Award 7. I'm Rob the Courier. Today's conversation is a little different. The Addiction of Hope is a film about something most people avoid talking about. The idea that hope can sometimes keep you stuck, that the life you built years ago might not be the life that you want now. And joining me today are the film's star and producer, Anne-Marie Johnson, and writer, director, and co-star Martin Gottlieb. They've been partners for over 40 years. They've made a film together that digs into age, identity, family, and the uncomfortable truth that about knowing, I guess, when it's time to change your life. So let's get into it. Both of you, welcome and thank you for your time today.
Hey, good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So first up, Martin, in your director's statement, you talk about hope being something that can lift us up, but can also blind us to the truth. I found that really quite inspirational because I never really thought of it that way. That tension really sits at the heart of this film. So where did that idea come from?
I think we all have friends who we see them making similar mistakes. They're not hearing the universe speaking to them because they're so hopeful that what they're doing is going to work out. But hope isn't a plan. It's a great motivator. It gets you out of bed in the morning. It really drives you, can be very rewarding. But at a certain point, when the what is it, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same result, a different result. Sometimes I feel like hope, with people that I know, that we know, gets in the way of truth, and it becomes false hope, and false hope can be very, very dangerous. So that's where it came from, and the more I talk to people about it, the more it seems to strike a chord.
It really does. It really is resonating. Anne Marie, when you first read this script, what did you connect with in Joe's journey? Was it the idea of change or the feeling of being at a crossroads in life?
It was definitely the latter. Um, uh, I've been in this industry for quite a long time, and I've seen the ebb and flow of careers and of relevancy. I have felt many times, only in my career, not in my personal life, but in my career, exceedingly not relevant, not current, not viable. I've had and continue to have a really healthy career, but I still audition after all these years. I still audition for 99% of the work that I do. 99% of the time I hear no. You get more accustomed to the no than you, when you hear yes, you literally, it's an out of body experience. It's like, wait, what?
You're like, what?
Yeah, wait,
Right.
wait, I have to sit down. And fortunately, I've gotten, I've been very comfortable with that, because I live outside of myself. I have so many other interests. Being an actor is not who I am. It's just my job. But I have so many other things that I do in my life that bring me more satisfaction than the rat race of the industry. I love when I finally get to work, and when I'm finally working in a collaborative sense with others. But the whole industry, the whole fantasy of the industry, I find very distasteful. And I used to be on the board of the Screen Actors Guild AFTRA, and I used to be the first vice president. So I was really engaged with the negotiations of our TV theatrical contracts. And I just throughout the years, I had been doing that for almost 25 years. And just throughout the years, I've just seen the complete disregard for actors. And I'm not, it's not a pity party. It's just the reality of
Yeah.
technology, right?
Yeah.
And we're becoming less and less relevant. And this movie, that's why The Addiction of Hope really stuck to me and struck me, because I'm a very faithful woman. I'm an elder at my church. I equate hope with prayer.
Yeah.
And it is about hoping for something better for the world and for yourself and for your loved ones. And that's what really was that's what attracted me. And the fact that I've never been asked to play a character like this. And so I would have been a fool to pass up on the opportunity.
You know, that's an incredibly emotionally resonant thing to say, because it's so corrosive in this industry to have to be constantly told you're not good enough, you're not relevant. And for you to have that attitude, obviously it's taken you quite a while to get to that, but it's very, very healthy. And I also wonder then, given that we tend to think of hope as purely positive, this film really complicates that. Was it important to you both to show both sides of that? The idea that hope drives us forward, but there's also a part that can really hold us back.
Absolutely. And I think that Joe is left, the character that Anne Marie plays, is left in this position where she's at this audition, and the director says, "We're here to work," right? And there's a lot of thought in that for Joe at that crossroads. Is this working for me anymore? Because I think that's something that we all evaluate constantly. You know, is what I'm doing now working for me like it used to? And if it isn't, how do I change that? How do I feel good about myself, find purpose, whatever it may be? And Anne Marie in that moment, you know, there's so much that we see that goes on there about, well, what do I hope for here? What do I want? So,
Yeah. Well, to follow up on that, though, I think that scene with Clancy Brown's character for me was the turning point, because Joe's resolve seems to really galvanize, and like she's done with being cast aside, past her expiration date. And I'm just wondering, Anne-Marie, how did you approach that scene? Because it really is the moment for me where I realized, okay, she finally is starting to get it.
mm-hmm.
Well, it was, first of all, it's so well written that I didn't have to do a deep dive on, oh my gosh, how am I going to, so we can put that aside because it was so well written. And working with Clancy Brown and Beth Holmes, the actress in the scene who plays the casting director, the foundation was set for knowing that we were going to have a deliverable, a really good, solid scene. So that was set. But there was a time in my career where I was completely abandoned, and my agent fired me. My manager walked out on me. So I got a job. I worked for a friend of mine who was a city council member here in Los Angeles. Called me up because he knew I was always politically engaged, and he called me up and he said, "What are you doing? I want you to work for my office." And I said, "Yeah." So for a year and a half, I worked at City Hall because I was not going to sit around waiting for the phone to ring. And I knew eventually, you know, it's very cyclical. So I knew eventually work would come back. And I had lunch with a potential manager at the time. And I had a very short lunch hour because I had to get back to the office, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I said, okay, let's cut to the chase. What do you think the problem is? And she said, you know what? Maybe you should just cut your hair. At that point, I said to myself, you know, wow. All of my training, having a master's degree in theater art. And she looked at me with the most, you know, intense, I think you need to cut your hair. I went back to work and I pretty much said, well, there you have it. And that was Joe. That's Joe when the director says, oh, okay, are you ready to work? Let me adjust you. Let me show you how to, and that was like the light bulb goes off. And you just say, nah, I think I can move on.
That's right. And like Martin, the irony is Joe nails that performance, like really, but she realizes that she's not nailing it in her life with her purpose.
Right.
That's what I really responded to. Was that how you saw it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously the play within the play,
Yeah,
and it's a fairly proven device. So, they say good ones steal and great ones steal from the best, I think, something like that.
yeah,
Um, so it was an easy scene to write. Um, and the thing that people do respond to, it's interesting that you're bringing it up, is she does such a good Joe, Anne Marie, in that moment, they're inseparable in that moment, they both do such a great job in the scene that at the end of the story, people I don't want to give away anything necessarily, but at the end of the story, people have such clear views on what they want for Joe.
yeah,
That some people are happy with the ending, some people are not happy with the ending, but yes, that's exactly how I wanted it to play. That okay, what is important to her and when does it click?
yeah. And so I was in two minds because I thought, okay, well, she's obviously a very good actor. She should just continue doing this. But you could
Right.
tell she's like, I'm not down for this anymore. I'm done. And that was
Yes.
actually quite satisfying. She could focus more on what her purpose was to be. So, Anne Marie, Jo is confronting the idea that the industry may see her differently now than it once did. So how important was that to treat that really honestly, given your past experience, without softening it?
Well, it was paramount. If we weren't authentic with that, then it would just be another silly film about a privileged individual living a privileged life, and it had nothing to do with being a teacher or being a doctor or a nurse or a bricklayer. People would go, "Oh God, you spoiled performers! You always want." This Joe represented anyone in any field, and she
Right.
just happened to be an actor. But Joe represents anyone who has, and especially the story, the script, the production of it started at the tail end of COVID, where millions of people were reevaluating their lives, seeing truly in real time life or death. Do I want to be stuck in this job when the world is imploding? Can I be of service? Can I be a better mom? Can I be a better dad? Can I be a better friend? Can I be a better human? We were all facing what many of us thought was the end of the world, considering how tragic the virus was and continues to be. So the script spoke to, I've wasted enough time on this hamster wheel, and do I jump off or do I continue to the endless list of unsatisfactory results? And
Yeah.
it really speaks to that.
It does. And the thing is, what I've been grappling with after watching the film was that many of us have been through sea changes. My wife's been through one recently and it was very risky and very scary. And now we realized we made the right call. But many people don't have that luxury. And I wonder,
Right.
Martin, how do you grapple with the idea that people might suggest that what Joe's journey is just giving up and doing something like, because it's not giving up, but how do you push back on that?
Well, I think it's a really good question. Um, it never even occurred to me that she was giving up because to me, she was making a choice
Yeah.
that was for a a I don't want to say better. What's important to you when you're younger is generally different than when you're older. You reevaluate your life, you reevaluate things that are important to you. And in this moment, she has grown let's say, matured to a place where she understands that now's the right time for her to pursue what was her passion, because she talks about she thought she'd make a living with a camera, you know, and she has this familial history that needs attention. And both of these women need each other. They need each other to lean on, to pull strength from, to move forward. And Joe's, I don't want to overblow it, but I mean, it's kind of heroic because she's obviously very talented. She's obviously up to the job. And it's hard to walk away from something that you love and that you're good at, but you understand that it's not satisfying you in the same way. So I never ever even considered that she was giving up. And that's why I say it's a really good question. I always looked at it as a positive choice for her.
Well, and also the viewer who's not in the industry really thinks of our industry as glamorous, wonderful.
Yeah. Red carpets all day. Yeah.
That's the guy in the bathroom.
Right. Limousines and wonderful, the industry does a really good job of selling what the industry is not. And so when it's really quite interesting when people stay afterwards and want to talk and talk and talk about the film. And some people want her to continue, some people, and it really is, some people are very, very, very supportive of the end. Some people are very upset about the ending because they think our business is the best thing you can possibly do. And that's why the movie is a thinking person's film, because, the fallacy of the facade of our business and other businesses. It's grunt work. We're not digging ditches, but it is a blow to your psyche to be in this business.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And another one of my favorite scenes, which is to that end, Joe spends so much time setting up this self-tape, and it's really lovely. It's fantastic. And then it's like, bang, bang, you're done. And she's just sitting there with the curtain. And I thought, okay, I think I know where this is headed. And it went in other directions, but I tell you, that scene really hit me. And then the other thing I loved is the relationship between the two sisters. The scene with the TV guide is it resonates because many of us have that dynamic in our families. So for question for both of you, was that particularly rewarding to bring that to life? Because it's a separate part of the film, but of course it's all related to Joe's journey.
Yeah.
I can certainly say that I think that all of us at one point or another in our lives, we try and gain approval from our parents. And in that moment, Joe, who felt unloved, realizes how much she was loved. And unfortunately, our parents from a different generation didn't have the ease of expressing it that parents of today might have. So for her to get to this place is such a release. And I think that children of a certain age can really, it doesn't matter if you're an actor or not, it's the same thing as the mother or the father that has an image of the dance recital or the, rugby field. You see what I did there?
I like it. It's getting more and more relevant.
Right.
it was very. It's that scene. It's really it was interesting for me to dig deep in that because my parents were the polar opposite. They supported me from day one. They went to all of my performances. They went to all of my tapings of the shows. They kept everything. They bragged. It was endless support and love. And what brought so much pain for me to do that scene was how sad for adult children who did not receive that.
Hmm.
Yeah, horrible, really horrible. And it really, yeah, that really resonated with me as well. So, okay, the both of you have been working together. Well, you've been together for 40 years, and now you're telling a story about life choices, change, regret. Did you find working together gave you a kind of shorthand, or did it actually demand a higher level of honesty with each other when something wasn't working? I'll go to you first, Martin.
Uh, Again, a good question. And I think that we do have a shorthand, which is truth. And I knew that I could say to Anne Marie, uh, I want it, don't spin this or do that, just be. And she would understand that, okay, I need to go bigger or smaller or whatever it may be, for the honesty of the moment. And I didn't have to, I didn't have to say it more than once. She knew exactly what I meant. Um, and after being together for so many years, it's just there's an ease of telling the truth, if that makes sense.
It does. And what about you, Henry?
It's funny because when we do Q&As after the screenings, depending on what city we're in, people are shocked to know that we're married. And we and when we say it, they're like, "Wait, what?" they can't believe that we're married. We've worked together before. That's how we met. We met on stage. So yeah, we
Doing
did
a
a
very bad play.
yeah, in a very bad play.
Yes.
In a very bad play. But that was back in 1986. So that's when we met. But we've worked together. Marty has directed me previously. But this was the first time that we were all in. I mean, this was such a difficult story to tell, and also working together as producers too. So, but it was fantastic. We had a blast. There were no arguments. We respected each other's, yeah, no arguments.
Wow,
We respected
that's
each other's
huge.
lane. Yeah, I know. I knew he was my director. He was no longer my husband. He was
Yeah,
my director and he was the screenwriter. And then when we had to produce together, he is a producer, I'm a producer. We had our lanes and we stuck to it. And it made for not only an incredible project, but it made for a wonderful, wonderful experience.
absolutely. For the both of you, how rewarding. So then, given this was self-finance, that comes with a very different kind of pressure as well. What did that responsibility feel like while you were making this film?
Yikes.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right.
Well, we've said before, we don't have kids, so this was like sending a kid to college. Um,
Yeah.
Very
now we
expensive
just hope,
college.
Whew,
yeah, we
Yale.
hope that the kid takes care
Yeah.
of us now. Yeah. So, it's a big investment, but I don't know. I guess at a certain point in your life, you feel like it sounds corny to say, if not now, when? But that really was kind of it. Um, just this is something that I know I've wanted to do. I've never directed a feature film before, and it was something that I definitely wanted to do, and I had a very clear idea about how I wanted to do it. So the money going out was just part of the process and not thrilling, but necessary.
But we've always been very conservative with our spending because as actors, we didn't believe in the starving artist BS, right?
Mm.
We really were very proactive with our savings, very very careful with our spending. We're not cheap, but we're cheapish,
Yeah,
and so
I like
so
that. I like
Jason,
that.
yeah.
Cheap, cheap
that
adjacent.
helped. That definitely helped us, and we knew that if we relied on other people's finances, we wouldn't be able to create the art we wanted to create. So there really was no other option. We needed to control the narrative, and we needed to control the money, and that was really the only way we could do it.
But does that mean that do those constraints end up shaping the film in a way that actually is to your advantage? Like,
Yes.
walk us through that because that to me that sounds terrifying, but
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
maybe it
is.
works out.
Well, it
Well,
depends on what you want to do. We were fortunate because, like I said, I had been part of negotiations with the Screen Actors Guild for years, so I knew everything about doing a union film. And Marty was the line producer. I mean, we had a crew of 5, and
Yeah.
Marty was the line producer. So we knew exactly what we had, how we were going to use it, and how we were not going to waste anything. And in the long run, I think people who create art that way create better art. There was no unlimited, bank account. We had a certain
well,
amount of days and a certain amount of money.
yeah, I would say we didn't waste anything.
No, nothing.
And since we all know art is subjective, there will be people who don't like this film for whatever reason and do like it. We don't know. But knowing that we had a certain amount of funds impacts how you go about shooting it. You can't have 10 takes. You get, if you're lucky, you get 3, if you're lucky, or you're married to the director. No,
That's right. That helps.
but we honestly we moved pretty quickly, and in writing it, you write what you have access to that you can afford, or somebody's house or whatever it may be that saves you money. So when you are in a financial bind, you have to make use of the space that you're in, and it uh, it makes it go, I think it pulls more out of you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. This is why I love talking to independent filmmakers because it is such a gamble. It really, to me, you've got everything on the line. You then take it through festivals. It
Oh,
actually starts becoming successful. You are winning awards. You're connecting with audiences and juries. So then, on that journey, what have you noticed in the room? What do you think is most resonating with people?
I think
Well,
I think what resonates is it's very relatable.
Yeah,
I mean, people sit there, some are crying, some feel reassured and heard and seen. Some are dealing with some trauma. It's not just about this actress. It's about familial conflict. It's about
sibling. Mm.
sibling conflict.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
about being diagnosed with a very challenging ailment. It's about adoption. It's
yeah.
about, and I mean, this is all coming right to your face. And we've been very, very fortunate to have the response that we've had for the film. It's really been nice.
Mm.
Well, I think one of the more rewarding things is that people have said it's answered some questions for them. It has made them evaluate where they were or are. And, you know, I think you get into the business for many reasons, but certainly in an independent film business, I think you do it to move people. And one of the biggest rewards has just been that people are genuinely moved. There's some laughs in the film at hopefully at the right time so that people get a breath, and we can go up the roller coaster and down the roller coaster, um, and they come away feeling that they think about it, they're moved by it, and most importantly, they find hope in it.
Definitely. It's very inspirational.
Yeah. It's a different hope. And because
Yes.
this, yeah, and that's the challenge. And so my final question really is just on the back of that. The film is about having the courage to change your life. It's also about how hope can hold you back, but maybe a different kind of hope can pull you forward. So when someone's watching and recognizing something in themselves, do you hope that they take away from that moment that really anything's possible. You've just got to, I guess, what, believe in yourself, or you tell me.
I think what is very satisfying for me is that people think about, I want people to stop relying purely on themselves. Okay, I'm a believer in God and of Jesus, and I would like people to release their ego and release their control and allow whatever power that you believe is out there in the universe to really be quiet and hear that, and know that you are never alone. You may feel alone, you may feel sad, you may be ill, you may be depressed, you may be lonely, but you're never really alone. Whatever higher power you believe in, even if you believe in a tree that is beautiful and it blooms and it's flourishing, believe that there is something outside of yourself, because I think we're just such a culture of egotistical pressure. Yeah. We need to kind of release that. And that's what I feel people feel when they walk out of the theater after this experience.
Yeah.
Well, just for me, the idea that you don't have to listen to the universe tell you you're finished. You know, when everybody says you're too old, you can't do what you do anymore. That's not true. When you decide that you're finished and you're done chasing or participating or enjoying this, but it's not enough anymore, then you make that choice to do something else. And the big takeaway is you are never too old to change what isn't working anymore. So
yeah, that's exactly right.
I think people need to think about, stop being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Just stop it. If it's not working, try to pivot, try to transition, try to find a path that has less resistance than the path you've decided I'm just going to stick on this path. Life is short.
Give it a go. Life is short. Every day is a gift. I say this to
every day,
every single day. Yeah. That's Anne-Marie Johnson and Martin Gottlieb. The Addiction of Hope is a quiet film, but it asks a very, very loud question. And I thank you both for your time today. The film's hitting streaming on April 7. Everybody check it out. Thank you both for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.